Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to another watch review. Today I have another much talked about vintage style watch to take a look at. This is the Seiko Turtle, and this is the srp787 version, which is somewhat unique because of the black and blue dial and the blue actual minute hand on the watch itself. These are the things that actually made me pull the trigger on this watch. As you've seen, there's probably dozens and dozens of reviews in these right now on YouTube or all over the internet. But when this one came out, this really made me something about the color combination I thought was really unique, especially the colored hand, so I jumped on it. Ironically, for those of you who have maybe watched some of my other videos, I actually live in Tokyo, Japan, and these watches are hard to come by here. It's one of those kind of things that is kind of irony of a Japanese manufacturer makes things for the export market and not really for the domestic market. Sure, we have a lot of great offerings here in Japan, the domestic market, watches, none more important probably for Seiko than the Marine Master that I can just walk down to the local shop and pick up anytime I want. But some watches like this somehow are harder to come by. So just a quick review of this one myself. I had looked at these for a while, and I got very excited about them when they first, we knew they were coming last December, January 2016. I think I was fixed on the gold at the time, but I felt that the gold just for me was, I don't know, somehow a bit too dressy for the watch that it is. Other people will disagree with that, and that's perfectly fine. And to be fair, I might pick up a gold one in the future too, just for something different. But this one, the combination of the black and the blue, really did it for me. There's also actually a black and a red for someone who wants something a little bit different. I came close to that one, but the blue, I tend to favor blue in watches, so I got this one. I also got it on the steel bracelet, which I almost always buy on steel when I can. A lot of people in the watch community, will say that, buy on steel when you can, and I tend to agree with that because, the other options are very easy to do after the fact, whereas it's hard to go back and get steel if you don't have it to begin with. So the bracelet on this is very, very good. I can't really say anything bad about it whatsoever. A lot of people have talked about it already. It's a solid 22 millimeters at the watch. The end links themselves are solid, as you expect. It does have the Tsunami combination Prospex logo on the back, as also you're familiar with on Seiko Prospex divers. Crown at 4 o'clock, unsigned, which perfectly fine with me. There's watches of all different price ranges with signed and unsigned. It doesn't really mean much. It's more about personal preference. The bracelet, again, very good quality, it's got a nice smooth feel to it. It's not, Omega silky or anything like that, but, it's really, really nice, very comfortable on the wrist, drapes really well. You can get an idea that, it will, conform very nicely to almost any size wrist. Mine being about 7.5, depending upon the weather and how much pizza I had, fits really well. Looking at the sizes, and this has been covered before, but what the heck, I have my handy little measuring device here. So it comes at about 45-ish, 44, 45 thereabouts, as most reports will say. The thickness is I think not bad at all for what what you have here. I mean, it's about 13. Give or take a tenth of a mil here and there, so it's not really a thick watch, all things considered. It's 200 meters, as most Prospex drivers are, but as we know by Seiko, 200 meters is probably a wild underestimation of the actual depth rating that this watch can take. So let's see, back to the clasp. The clasp is the standard stamped steel, but again, I'm perfectly fine with that, especially for a watch that's going to cost you about $300. I mean, perfectly reasonable. Wasn't that long ago when Rolex Submariners came with stamped steel, and everybody's perfectly fine with that, so I don't see any problem with Seiko doing that as they please and as they find economical to keep the prices down on the rest of the watch. The turtle shape itself, the case, again, this has been gone over a lot, but you know, my personal opinions on it was that at first I was not really excited about it. I actually kind of preferred the 009, 007 shape case. It's a bit more shaped. I don't know, you know, as opposed to being very, very wide. But this does have a very different vintage appeal to it that a lot of people like, and I found myself growing on me rather quickly, and wanted to add it to my collection. Similar to the Seiko Sumo that I'm actually wearing right now, you know, with the upturned edges on the side of the case, this also has that effect where the edges of the case kind of turn up and away. So when it's sitting on your wrist, even though it's wide, there's a lot of room for you know, your wrist and your hand to move underneath it without any kind of interruption. That combined with, of course, the Seiko Crown at 4 makes it a very, very comfortable watch to wear, even though it's rather big. Really love this watch, and you know, again, ironically enough, being in Tokyo, I haven't seen another Seiko turtle on anybody's wrist here in Tokyo. I mean, to be fair, it was one of those kind of things when you live where I do that, you know, actually most of the watches I see are Rolex and Omega and Panerai, Hublot and Audemars Piguet and stuff, and that's all great and stuff, and I have some of those watches and I enjoy them as well, but you know, there's something about the Seikos and just the robustness, you know, the trustworthiness, and all that coming at a low price just gives you a kind of adventurous and a carefree feel when you wear them. You can kind of just, you know, carefully, you know, without care rather, just grab it off your dresser and go whatever you have planned for that day and not have to worry about it. And you know, all the options Seiko gives us in terms of case shapes and sizes and colorations and stuff really does you know, offer great choices for anybody for any time, any activity, and any outfit. So again, Seiko Turtle, tons of reviews out there. This is mine. This is the srp787, blue and black, sometimes referred to as the Batman. I think people are trying to find some similarities with this and the Rolex GMT in black and blue. But for me, this just stands on its own. You know, it's a Seiko, has all the quality Seiko DNA that everybody knows and loves, and you know, I surely do enjoy having it in my collection. And I hope if you don't have one and you want to add one, I wouldn't hesitate on picking one up. Very well recommended watch. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Cheers. Bye.